Live from our culture studios in Blantyre, we bring you the lunch edition of MPC News with me, Opile Kaisa. Coming up. President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika to receive letters of credence from representative designate of the African Union Southern Africa Regional Office this afternoon. Construction works of the Crossroads Murray Road Junction in Lilongwe to be completed by October this year. And journalists urged to fully understand operations of the mining sector to reduce misinformation and improve accountability. And now the news in detail. His Excellency Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika, who today received letters of credence from Ambassador Ms. Hilda Suka Mafudze, representative designate of the Africa Union Southern Africa Regional Office with residence in Malawi. According to a statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, President Mutharika will receive the letters at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Minister of Transport and Public Works, Jape Mhango, has assured the public that construction works of the Crossroads Murray Road Junction will be completed by October this year. Mhango said this in Lilongwe during a site visit to appreciate the progress made on the construction works. Beatrice Mape reports.
During the tour, it was discovered that construction works are at 24%, while time has lapsed with 62%. The delay has been attributed to financial challenges and delays made by service providers to remove their property in the road reserve. In his remarks after appreciating the construction works, the Minister of Transport and Public Works, Jape Mhango, expressed dissatisfaction with the progress made. He has, however, acknowledged the financial challenges the contractor is facing. Mhango says government will iron out the challenges and ensure the project is completed by October this year. He has since assured Malawians that government remains committed to improving the country's road infrastructure.
So 60 versus 23 is not good enough. Is not good enough. But for him to push as hard as he can, he must have financial resources because he has to procure fuel, he must pay staff, and all sorts of things. So we need to go back and engage our colleagues in the Ministry of Finance to make sure that this project is properly financed, because this is in the middle of the city, and it is also contributing towards heavy traffic that we are currently encountering in the heart of the city. So we need to make sure that this project is completed as soon as yesterday. But the sources, as it were, it's a bit difficult. But we'll get back to our colleagues and see what can be done to make sure that the contractor is properly resourced so that he can finish these works. I would like this job to be finished latest by October this year.
On his part, Acting Chief Executive Officer for Roads Authority, Engineer Joel Longwe, says plans are underway to decongest the country's cities through various road infrastructure projects. Longwe says government plans to dualize all roads which are 20 kilometers outside town.
In Blantyre, plans are already from Lunzu up to Kandodo Corner Shop. Designs are already completed. Dual carriage with an interchange at the Kameza roundabout. So, all of the other towns, government has plans, has got designs already approved. Some are in progress to dualize and decongest it. The plan that 20 kilometers outside town, they should make the dual carriage.
The project, which is funded by the Malawi government to the tune of 13 billion kwacha, started in May 2025 and was expected to be completed on 7th May this year. The completion date has since been revised to 30th December this year. Beatrice Moape, MPC News, Lilongwe.
The Indian High Commission in Malawi says yoga can help Malawians deal with stress, anxiety and lifestyle-related diseases while promoting a healthier and balanced living. Indian High Commissioner to Malawi, Amararam Guja, was speaking in Lilongwe during a curtain raiser yoga session held ahead of the International Day of Yoga commemorations scheduled for next month. Stefania Chiteka has filed this report, being read by Beatrice Mwape.
Indian High Commissioner to Malawi, Amararam Gujar, says beyond physical exercise, yoga promotes balance between the body, mind and soul, making it important in today's fast-paced world where many people are affected by stress, anxiety and other lifestyle-related diseases. He says the High Commission wants to make yoga more accessible to Malawians through outreach programs and public wellness activities ahead of the International Day of Yoga commemorations.
Our message is very clear for everyone that yoga is not merely a physical stretching exercise. It is more than a physical stretching exercise, because we see yoga as a holistic approach for the wellness and health perspective, because it is also very good in a preventive healthcare approach. So where you can just avoid the many also serious diseases and illness if you every day practice yoga in your daily life.
Lilongwe City Mayor, Councillor Peter Alex Banda, says the event reflects the strong relationship between Malawi and India, adding that cultural and wellness activities continue to strengthen ties between the two countries.
Yeah, it benefits in many ways. It will build our relationship between India and Malawi.
The Curtain Raiser Yoga session held at the National War Memorial in Lilongwe attracted yoga enthusiasts, members of the Indian community and Lilongwe residents who participated in guided wellness exercises.
Food and Agriculture Organization (FAO) has handed over a newly built weather station to the Department of Climate Change and Meteorological Services at Palombe Teachers College. Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Natural Resources and Climate Change, Dr. Mishek Montali, said the weather station is expected to strengthen climate monitoring and improve access to accurate weather information in the area. Mercy Zamawa with the details.
As Malawi continues to experience frequent extreme weather events, including floods, prolonged dry spells, strong winds, and tropical cyclones, districts such as Palombe remain among the most vulnerable to these climate-related hazards. These events continue to affect agriculture, water resources, infrastructure, public health, and overall socio-economic development. As such, reliable weather climate information has become more important than before. Therefore, this newly built Palombe weather station, according to the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Natural Resources, Dr. Mishek Montali, is expected to strengthen climate monitoring and improve access to accurate weather information.
Stationed here strategically because this is a learning institution where we also train teachers who will be training learners across the country. But beyond that, Palombe is one of the districts in Malawi that has been prone to extreme weather issues. And one of the things that we believe is very useful in protecting lives and property during extreme weather events are meteorological stations. Because out of that, we expect to have timely data. And this MET station will help Palombe and surrounding areas and districts to inform them about these possibilities. For example, it can assess issues of floods, it can assess issues of cyclones, it can even help farmers to anticipate when to plant, when to do what. So it's a very important, timely event, and it has come to Palombe district.
Palombe Weather Station has been made possible courtesy of Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO. The FAO representative for Malawi, Ad Said Yusuf, described the development as a major milestone in enhancing weather data collection and analysis.
It's not only an infrastructure for generating information. It is, the most important element of it is its use for informing planning agriculture, planning disaster risk response, planning water use, planning cropping, planning, many other activities that has to do with nature. So the reason why we said this is more than an infrastructure is because the evidence, the information that is generated from this meteorological station will inform a number of things.
DC for Palombe, Makina Gama, said farmers in the area are expected to benefit from improved access to reliable climate information to guide them in decisions regarding their farming.
For the district to receive this facility, and as a district we are just very happy. Palombe is one of the districts that is prone to disasters, and this will assist us. This will assist our people in Palombe to actually get information from the weather station and see what they can actually do in terms of danger. We are very privileged indeed, and we thank the donors for donating this facility.
Currently, the Department of Climate Change and Meteorological Services has a total of 23 weather stations countrywide. Mary C. Zamawa, MBC News, Palombe.
Sustainable Cape Maclear, a community-based organization, has unveiled plans to introduce household tree planting practice in areas around Lake Malawi National Park in Mangochi as one of its new approaches to promoting community participation in environmental conservation. Team leader for the organization, George Banana, observed that the household tree planting approach will help increase survival rate of tree seedlings. Francis Banda has filed this report, being read by Owen Mavula.
According to the community-based organization, the Household Tree Planting Initiative is a move aimed at instilling full ownership of tree seedlings communities plant to boost the survival rate. Team leader for Sustainable Cape Maclear, John Banana, said this at a stakeholders meeting in Monkey Bay organized to develop resource use guidelines, which includes revising firewood collection fee in order to ensure that efforts to conserve the environment in areas around Lake Malawi National Park, which is one of the UNESCO's World Heritage Sites, are maximized. Banana said through the initiative, families will be challenged to plant 15 tree seedlings around their homes, and the households will be rewarded with 2 bags of fertilizer weighing 50 kilograms each to encourage the practice.
So one of the issues was we are trying to report what we've been doing the last 2 years also as Sustainable Cape Maclear. At the very same time, we engaged our partners, the Department of National Parks. We're trying to introduce resource use guidelines. You know, since the establishment of this park in 1980 up to date, there is no resource use guidelines. Yet, we have enclave villages in this park. So we thought it wise that we should invite all the stakeholders to come and have a dialogue on this use of the resource use guidelines.
Banana said apart from tree planting initiative, the organization is also planning to start collecting waste around Monkey Bay and Cape Maclear twice a week. Commenting on the move, Upper Division Manager in the Department of National Parks and Wildlife, Mark Philip Mitokoma, commended Sustainable Cape Maclear for the initiative.
I think this is a welcome development because the issues of tree planting, we do it every year, but the problem is taking care of the planted trees. So with this initiative around Lake Malawi National Park, I think it will assist us to have trees which will be taken care by the local communities. So I appreciate it for that arrangement by Sustainable Cape Maclear.
Sustainable Cape Maclear was established in 2015 to improve quality of life and well-being of people in Cape Maclear through initiating and promoting sustainable socio-economic and environmental practices by optimizing diverse local knowledge, skills and resources, as well as various partnerships to promote tourism.
Youths in Mzuzu have requested government to continue creating a conducive environment for operations of the private sector as a way of creating jobs for unemployed graduates. Blessings Gondwe has details in this report.
This meeting brought together Mzuzu-based youth leaders to express the socio-economic challenges they are facing. The major challenge that came out is that many graduates in the country are jobless. One of the youth, Raimundo Magangani, said the private sector can help address the challenge by creating job opportunities to the young people.
These young people, they have been there for such a long period of time. I think they have gained the experience. And in my view, I think it's high time now the government consider them for a permanent employment. But then we are also looking at where is the government getting this employment. That's when maybe perhaps the private sector comes in. The government should just create a conducive environment for the private sector so that maybe the private sector can absorb some of these who have been overdue in these cohorts.
Responding to the call, NICOM Chief Executive Officer Rhoda Misomali said government is committed to working with private sector in addressing high unemployment levels in the country. She also encouraged young people in the country to be safe drivers of their goals to achieve economic independence.
As you listen to my speech, I had indicated that in everything that NICOM is doing now, we are addressing the challenge of unemployment. So every program that we have, we want to make sure that at the end of that program, there will be job creation, to make sure that the youth are being taken care of. We are trying to reduce the unemployment rate by coming up with programs that will create jobs for the youth. They should be deliberate programs.
Young people are at the center of ensuring that the country achieves its development aspirations through the Malawi 2063. Blessings Gondwe, MBC News, Mzuzu.
You are watching MBC News. A reminder of our top stories. President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika to receive letters of credence from representative designate of the African Union Southern Africa Regional Office this afternoon. Construction works of the Crossroads Murray Road Junction in Lilongwe to be completed by October this year. And journalists urged to fully understand operations of the mining sector to reduce misinformation and improve accountability. Welcome back. The Makosikazi and Mbelwa Women's Group have held a major cultural event in Mzimba to promote economic stability among women in the area, in line with the Malawi 2063 aspiration on wealth creation and social development. Speaking during the event, Nkosikazi Mbelwa said the initiative demonstrates the group's commitment towards supporting government's efforts in empowering women to actively participate in building a self-reliant nation. Shikondi Pompi has details in this report being read by Rudoviko Nyirenda.
During a colorful cultural event, Nkosikazi Mbelwa urged women to unite and embrace the cooperative business model as one way of achieving financial stability in their households and communities.
This will help us as Mzimba women to be able to have some developments, also encourage each other for women empowerment so that we can be able to also stand on our own. We understand that most of our leaders, Nkosi Amakosi and the rest of my Nkosi, they do help us, but sometimes there are some things that we even shy to even ask for them to do for us. So if we are empowered, we can easily do it for ourselves as well.
Trade officer from Mbelwa District Council, Chimwemwe Sichinga, said the council will provide mentorships and training to help the women to register their business and access better markets.
Offer advisory role to all the women doing business so that they should be able to at least formalize their business, register their businesses as sole traders, as well as probably register with Ministry of Trade as a cooperative, so that they should be doing a business as a group.
The event, which brought together local women and community leaders, was aimed at improving household incomes and promote financial independence among women.
Final year students studying Bachelor of Petroleum Engineering at Malawi University of Science and Technology, MUST, have been urged to be problem solvers in the industry by bridging theory with practice. Human Resources and Administration Manager at National Oil Company of Malawi, Prescott Nkata, expressed the sentiments at a symposium held in Blantyre, organized by the MUST Petroleum Society. Naomi Kamiango reports.
Human Resources and Administration Manager at National Oil Company of Malawi, NOCMA, Prescott Nkata, says what the students are learning is relevant to NOCMA's mandate.
The School of Earth Sciences at Ndata, the program that they run, Geosciences, and a degree in oil and gas, petroleum sciences, it's very relevant to our sector where NOCMA is. Our mandate runs through the three streams in energy or oil sector, which is midstream, upstream and downstream. So the program itself is relevant in all of NOCMA's mandate. And our support to them is a demonstration that we partner with them as we contribute to Malawi's development in the oil sector.
Malawi Energy Regulatory Authority Mera's Customer Affairs and Public Relations Manager Fitina Konje says there are gaps in the sector waiting to be filled.
They are not just students to us. For us, we are looking at soon-to-be industry players. So we find it that it's very important that they understand the role of their regulator, but also us as MERA, we should understand their ideas, because as you know, there are gaps in the sector that are yet to be filled in terms of knowledge and also practice. So we are hoping that we'll be able to tap into the ideas of these soon-to-be industry players.
Executive Dean Founder at the School of Climate and Health Sciences, Associate Professor Chikonde Chisenga, explains the importance of the symposium.
At MUST, especially in the Data School of Climate and Earth Sciences, we have a program called Petroleum, Geotechnology and Engineering. This program teaches students the principles of petroleum industry, both downstream, middle stream and upper stream. However, what we teach them is theories and other practicals. So we have conducted this symposium to expose the students to the industries and for them to learn what the industry is all about, as well as to expose them to different industrial players.
Ishaine Sumponda, the president of MUST Petroleum Society, says they are ready to put theory into practice.
As a student, we should learn more from what's happening in the industry. So we should prepare ourselves that when we go there, we perform professionally. So despite that we have the knowledge in our field, yes, the expertise, we have it, but we also wanted a picture of how the industry operates to see how best we can fit in and make a difference.
13 students are expected to graduate this year from the program. Naomi Kamyango, MPC, Blantyre.
The Department of Mining has called on journalists to improve accuracy in reporting on the mining sector, noting the industry is expected to play a central role in the country's long-term economic transformation. The call was made during a day-long training for members of the Association of Business Journalists held in Lilongwe. MacDonald Chiwayola reports.
Officials said the mining sector currently contributes between 1 and 2% to Malawi's gross domestic product (GDP), but has strong potential to grow as government continues with the reforms and expansion of production. They noted that accurate use of technical language, environmental compliance, and proper use of information systems remain key to strengthening transparency in the sector. On the importance of accurate reporting and proper understanding of mining terminology, Director of Administration in the Department of Mining, Martin Nkasala, had this to say.
Engineering industries, it is a highly technical field. So we want to make sure that our friends in the media fraternity are well conversant with terminologies, the register that is used in the mining sector, so that they are able to simplify, because you have the expertise to simplify that information to the layman out there. So it was very important for us to organize this training because moving forward, we consider mining and media to be great partners in the national development. There are so many dangers also associated with mining if it is not done rightly, and we consider media as very critical to dissemination of that information.
The department further emphasized that mining projects must comply with environmental regulations before licenses are issued as part of efforts to ensure sustainable development in the sector. Media practitioners were also urged to strengthen their capacity in interpreting technical mining issues to improve public understanding. Adding his voice on media capacity building and the purpose of the training, Deputy National Coordinator of the Association of Business Journalists, Alex Banda, explained the objective of the engagement.
As the Association of Business Journalists, we press much emphasis on effective critical analysis of reporting of business issues and financial reviews, mining being part of it, being one of the anchors of the country's economic rebound. With the potential that the mining sector has in the country, we believe that it was critical to partner with the department to ensure that our journalists, members of the association, are equipped with this knowledge so that they bring out the critical information that is paring away all the disinformation and, of course, any other information that might actually be detrimental or affect the quality of information or investment into the sector.
Government maintains that the mining sector is expected to significantly increase its contribution to the economy, targeting at least 10% of GDP by 2030. Officials also note that Malawi could generate over $500 million United States dollars annually once key mining projects are fully developed. McDonald Chwaura, MBC News, Lilongwe.
And in sports, Premier Bet Malawi says it is committed to promoting weightlifting in the country to encourage more people to participate in and follow the sport. One of the company's senior officials for the northern region, Veston Kambalame, said this in Mzuzu at the end of a 6.2 million kwacha weightlifting championship sponsored by the company. Rodoviko Nyirenda reports.
After successfully organizing the weightlifting competition in Mzuzu last year, Premier Bet this year brought together 9 male and 6 female athletes for the championship. Speaking after the competition, Kambarame said the company was impressed with how last year's event was conducted, which motivated them to sponsor the competition again this year. He further said Premier Bet is committed to developing the sport so that more Malawians become familiar with it and more athletes can benefit from it, just like football and other sporting disciplines.
Interest is to make weightlifting, to put weightlifting on the map, because on the list of sports in Malawi, I don't think people regard weightlifting as a sport. It's regarded as something just to pass time in the communities. But now we want to lift this one now to be on the map. So we are benefiting because visibility is very important for us.
Chairperson for the Northern Region Weightlifting Association, Nenani Sawasawa, said this year's competition was highly competitive and of a high standard.
This year's event, it's much more better, so to say, to compare with the event of last year, because last year we had fewer participants as to compare with this year's event. And in terms of monetary prize, this year we have a big chunk, we're talking of 1 million for the first winner.
In the men's category, Piora Harava emerged winner after lifting a total of 1,833 kilograms across all 3 disciplines. In the women's category, Miriam Muhango won with a total lift of 918 kilograms. Halava expressed excitement over his victory, while Muhango encouraged more girls to join the sport. Halava received 1 million kwacha for finishing first in the men's category, while Muhango also received 1 million kwacha after winning in the women's category. Winners also received medals. Rodoviko Nyirenda, MBC News, Mzuzu.
Well, that item concludes this edition of MBC News. A reminder of our top stories before we leave. President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika to receive letters of credence from representative designate of the African Union Southern Africa Regional Office this afternoon. Construction works of the Crossroads Murray Road Junction in Lilongwe to be completed by October this year. And journalists urged to fully understand operations of the mining sector to reduce misinformation and improve accountability. For live news updates, visit our digital platforms by scanning the QR code at the top right corner of your TV screen. You are with me, Opile Kaisa. Thanks for watching. Good afternoon.